All right, YouTube, welcome back. Welcome back. This is a video showing that Yahweh's existence is objectively provable. So I'm not going to waste any more time, or any time for that matter. I'm going to get right into the argument so that you can probably type it out, pause the video, replay the video, and see what the argument is and how you would negate it, refute it, or deny it rationally. So let me just jump right in. All right, so here is the intelligibility argument. It has three premises followed by a conclusion. Premise one: if intelligibility exists, then intelligibility requires a sufficient ultimate ground. Premise two: intelligibility exists. Premise three: only the triune Yahweh, triune God Yahweh, satisfies the necessary conditions for the sufficient ultimate ground of intelligibility. Conclusion: therefore, the triune God Yahweh exists. And that's my argument. Now, I'm going to defend each of the premises. I'm just going to read from what I have here just to, give you a simplified form of my argument, then give you the variables of my argument for those of you who are, logic nerds like myself. So this is the transcendental argument because it asks what must be true in order for reasoning, logic, meaning, knowledge, identity, morality, and rational experience to be possible at all. The simplified form would be: 1. Intelligibility requires sufficient grounding. 2. Intelligibility is real and unavoidable. 3. Only the triune God can ground intelligibility without contradiction. Conclusion: therefore, the triune God exists. The variables P, Q, R, S. P is intelligibility exists. Q is intelligibility requires a sufficient ultimate ground. R, only the triune God, Yahweh, satisfies the necessary conditions for that ground. And S, the triune God, Yahweh, exists. So we have the propositional calculus. P, therefore Q, P implies Q implies R implies S, therefore S. And the inference rules that are used in this argument are modus ponens. If P, then Q, and P is true, then Q follows. Hypothetical syllogism: if P implies Q, Q implies R, and R implies S, then P leads to S. Is based also on the reductio ad absurdum. Rival explanations are tested and shown to collapse into contradiction, arbitrariness, contingency, or unintelligibility. Number 4, based on elimination of alternatives, which is springing out of the reductio ad absurdum. If all rival candidates fail and Yahweh alone satisfies the requirement, then Yahweh remains the necessary ground. This would be like, impossibility of the contrary. Then we have the transcendental retortion. The denial of God uses the very intelligibility that only God can ground. So that's just a very simplified form of the argument. And then I'm going to now defend each of the premises as we go along. But I have a comment that just came in here. So we have C-SPAN. There's more proof of the existence of Santa Claus than any God. Wow. Wow. I would love to see him prove that, or hear his argument for that, because that is an alternative, guys. Somebody is commenting on TikTok and saying that there's more proof for Santa Claus than any God. So I would like to hear the argument for Santa Claus and the argument that proves the existence of Santa Claus. I would love to see that, because he is literally giving an alternative. Humanzi, it feels like your grounding is motivated reasoning. Anyways, let me get back because there are no interactions that are coming right now, YouTube. So let's get into the actual defense of the premises. So premise one: if intelligibility exists, then intelligibility requires a sufficient ultimate ground. Okay. Now this is not just an assertion, right? You'll see. This premise is grounded in the principle of sufficient reason. The principle of sufficient reason says that things do not simply float without explanation. Reality, facts, logic, order, causality, moral obligation, rational inference, and intelligibility must have an adequate reason or ground. Intelligibility includes logic, identity, causality, induction, mathematics, language, predication, truth, morality, memory, rational inference, unity and diversity, universals and particulars, and correspondence between mind and world. These cannot be brute facts. To say logic just exists, reason just works, reality just happens to be intelligible is not an explanation. It is an arbitrary stopping point. Because you don't know what the answer is, you say it just is. A brute fact destroys rational inquiry because it says, here explanation ends for no sufficient reason. So, on the question of what grounds logic, all explanation ends there for no reason at all. But if explanation can arbitrarily stop anywhere, then there's no principle. There's no principled reason to stop at matter, chance, consciousness, laws of nature, or anything else. This is so true. If explanation can arbitrarily stop anywhere, then there's no principled reason to stop at matter, chance, unconsciousness, laws of nature, or anything else. Therefore, intelligibility requires a sufficient ultimate ground. So, the defense of premise one. Premise one is based in reality because all rational activity assumes that things are not arbitrary. Science assumes causality, uniformity, order, and intelligible structure. Logic assumes identity, non-contradiction, valid inference, and stable meaning. Morality assumes real obligation, distinction between good and evil, and accountability. Language assumes meaning, reference, identity, and shared rational structure. If intelligibility had no sufficient ground, then all of these would collapse into unexplained accident. Thus, premise one is not arbitrary. It is required by rational inquiry itself. Premise two. Now, before I even move on to premise two, guys, to say that the PSR is not necessary, or to say that you can arbitrarily stop all explanation at a particular point, gives you no principled reason to stop all explanation at that particular point. It could stop earlier. It could stop at the onset. It could stop anywhere. The stopping point could be placed anywhere, even to the question of why do you exist? Even to the question of why are you able to speak? There is a reason why you're able to speak, a reason that can be explained naturally, like your brain operating, your tongue moving, your mouth moving, etc. There are reasons for why you're able to speak, but there is no principled reason as to why you can't put the stopping point at, I can speak because I can just speak. The arbitrary stopping point thing that you guys do is exactly that. It's arbitrary. So it gives you no principled reason why you can't put the stopping point anywhere at all. Anywhere. Someone could ask you, why do you have a phone? And you could say, because I just have a phone. The stopping point can go anywhere. Okay, now for premise 2. Premise 2. It's okay. She can make her funny noises as long as she's not crying. It's okay. Let her play. Let her walk. All right. Okay. Premise 2. Intelligibility exists. This premise is not grounded in a PSR. This premise is grounded in actual experience. We do not merely theorize about intelligibility. We use it constantly. Every time someone argues, questions, reasons, doubts, denies, affirms, investigates, speaks, or understands, they presuppose intelligibility. Even the atheist who says God does not exist, or rather a positive atheist who negates or denies the existence of God. Even the atheist, even the positive atheist who says God does not exist, must rely on logic, meaning, identity, language, inference, rational order, and truth. If someone says intelligibility does not exist, they must use intelligibility to make the statement. That is self-defeating. And that is a commission of the fallacy of retortion. So it's literally improper reasoning, violation of reasoning to deny intelligibility because you're using it while denying it. So premise 2 is undeniable in practice. Now the defense of premise 2. Premise 2 is based in reality because intelligibility is directly experienced and performatively unavoidable. You cannot deny logic without using logic. You cannot deny meaning without using meaning. You cannot deny truth without making a truth claim. You cannot deny identity without identifying what you are denying. You cannot deny rationality without presenting reasons. So intelligibility is not optional. It is the precondition of all debate, all science, all thought, all communication, and all objection. Therefore, intelligibility exists. Oh no, Darth didn't come up. Darth didn't come up. Is that Darth? Okay, that's not Darth.
Hello.
Hey, is that authenticated?
Nice. Yes. How are you?
I'm doing okay, authenticated. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, I only have a question, right?
Right.
I wanna know more about religion because I don't follow a religion.
Well, I mean, I'm only discussing the existence of the triune God of the Bible, and that if the triune God of the Bible actually exists and the claims of the Bible are actually true, then you should be a Christian. You should follow the God of the Bible because He commands you to.
Mm-hmm.
He's your creator. You are the created, and you are to follow the creator because there are consequences if you don't.
Oh, okay. No, the reason why, because I'm now 3 years in Europe, and I'm original from the Amazon in South America, and we never talked about religion over there, right? But now I'm here in Europe, and I have a TikTok account. Yeah, and I see a lot of dark-skinned people talk about religion.
Does it matter? Does it matter what skin color the person is who accepts or rejects a religion?
Yeah, because where I'm from, we never talk about this type of religions. We are spiritual, right? So, but in Europe, I see on TikTok, a
Uh-huh.
lot of dark people talk about religion,
You know that there
but
are
I do
more. You
some
know that there are
research.
more. There are more white people who are religious in America than there are black people.
I don't know, man.
That's actually a fact that more white people are Christians than black people in America and in certain European countries, which means that someone being black doesn't matter with reference to their religious beliefs. The question should be, is the belief itself true? Is it true? Because if it is true, then you have an obligation to follow that which is true.
No, but I don't trust those kind of things. I never heard about, right? I don't grow up with it. So,
Does it logically follow that because you haven't heard about something that means it's false?
exactly.
So
Especially when you talk about,
So wait.
and
Actually, I don't think so. If you have cancer and you never hear that you have
mhm.
cancer, does it mean it's false that you have cancer?
No, but I think what you
So
mean
that's the first
about
contradiction.
God, God is not a cancer.
Right, right,
It's not
right,
an,
right. What I mean is,
God is not a disease, right?
propositions. You cannot even articulate that someone has cancer without making a sentence or a proposition. So the proposition is either true or
No,
false
but
if
that's a
it's
whole nother
based in
story.
reality.
Cancer, you cannot put cancer beside God because you talk about some kind of creator,
Okay.
right?
Is that
The
because cancer
creator
is a
of the
physical thing?
universe.
Is that because cancer is a physical thing that can be observed?
No, but when I hear people talk about God, that's not cancer. You
Yeah,
talk
you're
about
you're right. You're right. I'm just
something that creates everything on the universe.
you can
Yeah.
you
How
can
can you
draw.
believe something like that?
Wait.
Hmm.
Authenticate. You can draw different principles and concepts from different things that are similar. You can draw that. I was simply pointing out to you that the proposition I have cancer and the proposition God exists, they are both propositions. The question is, are they based in reality?
No,
Okay, you're not tracking, you're not following.
no.
Let me pull up
When you talk
Darth.
about God, you talk
Hey
about
Darth, hey Darth.
something that creates everything on the planet. Come on, man.
You're not following what I'm saying. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
I don't think so.
What's the point in contention?
He said that because he was never taught about the Christian God, that therefore means the Christian God is false. It doesn't follow. It's not sequitur.
Yeah, that doesn't follow.
No.
No, because Chinese people, they don't follow a Christian God. Are you crazy?
Okay, so what? So what?
So,
It doesn't follow. It's a non sequitur, buddy. We're trying to teach you logic here.
and I think you have more Chinese people than whitey people. So I think
Okay,
no,
first
man.
of all,
Then I
That's
think you
that.
gotta
That's
be
argumentum ad populum. Argument from
Chinese people.
popularity. That's another fallacy, buddy. Come on,
do you know
stop
how many Christians
arguing
are?
fallaciously.
Yeah, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay?
And Chinese people do it
okay.
even better than whitey people. So
Okay,
what
sir,
are you talking about?
sir,
Is
listen,
whether you
listen,
follow
listen.
something from Chinese people, man. What are you talking about?
Listen, it doesn't follow that a worldview is false because some people don't believe in it or haven't heard it yet. Okay? First of all,
Because
the Bible
because
talks
that
about
means you cannot prove it, right?
That's a lot of non sequiturs, man. A lot of fallacies in your reasoning, buddy.
You need to listen a little. Okay,
A
so
lot of
the Bible
fallacies in that
teaches that
reasoning.
there's the light
No,
of
you
creation
wanna
and the
you
one
wanna
truth.
you wanna
Okay,
you wanna
if you
control
interrupt
me.
again, look, you're rude, you're obnoxious, you're impulsive. Okay, please don't interrupt me. Okay, now the Bible teaches there's the light of creation of the one true God, and then there is the special revelation which God gives in addition to that. Every human being has the light or the revelation of God in creation. Okay, And what we learn about Jesus Christ is in addition to that. So no one will be without excuse, right? So you're not in a position to falsify the Christianity because you say some people haven't had access to it yet, right?
Right.
How long you have access to it?
Some pointing out he's committing non sequiturs all over the place. Non sequiturs all over the place.
Okay, authenticated. Okay. The moment Jesus died and rose, when Jesus died and rose again, right? The gospel of Jesus Christ had not yet begun to spread. Okay, have a nice day. You're done. Okay. He was a total ignoramus. Okay? Total ignoramus.
Yes, he was. I was trying to exercise patience with this guy, but right as I was about to kick him off, I saw you in the request. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna see if Darth can deal with this dude because.
Yeah, I was listening, and I said, "All right, I'll give it a try." But
he continues to commit logical fallacies, informal fallacies, and refuses to acknowledge them. Refuses to.
Well, look, TikTok is a cesspool of stupid people.
People who don't study. People don't read. I mean, oh boy. You know, the other day, I was watching an atheist live. And this atheist asked a Christian, "Does God have morals?" I'm like, what a dumb question. It's like Darth. It's like asking, "Does the ocean have ocean water?" You're asking if the thing that is the source and grounding of morality itself has morality. That's the wrong question.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness.
We're literally dealing with people that are ignorant. Meaning they're without basic knowledge of the subject matter, right? They're just and they're not willing to learn.
Yeah. I always point out that their ignorance, and sometimes I do it very sternly. They don't know what they're talking about.
Authenticated. I removed you because you have a bad attitude. Okay. You're rude. You're impulsive. You're obnoxious, and fundamentally, you're just too stupid to have a conversation.
Yeah. You're he's irrational. Some people you can't even talk to, man. But damn. Yeah, so I formulated your argument in a syllogism. I call it the design argument.
By the way, there's a quote from Richard Dawkins directly from The Blind Watchmaker.
Yeah. He said that it's an illusion of design.
He says there's an appearance of design, but then it's an illusion of design.
Mm-hmm.
And what is applicable to the biological order, we can apply to the atomic, subatomic, and the cosmological order. We can apply the same reasoning that there is an appearance of design, okay, and an overwhelming appearance and an uncontroversial appearance.
Yeah.
Then when we combine the impossibility of the contrary, all right, then we have a proof. And this is Romans 1.
Yes.
This is Romans 1. Ever since the beginning of the creation world, God's eternal powers, his divine nature have been clearly seen in everything that has been made, so that men are without a defense.
And I love the way you articulated. You said that when something overwhelmingly appears to be a certain way, without its rational negation, then you have a proof.
Yeah. So it's similar to the idea of what do we call? It's called Reedian common sense, Scottish common sense realism. It's similar to, but it's way more powerful.
Scottish common sense reasoning?
You'll have to forgive me. I'm just a little tired today. It's called Scottish common sense. What did I just say? Common sense. I can't believe I just said it and I just forgot it. That's how tired I am today.
I mean, those things happen, man. Trust me.
It's Scottish common sense realism.
Oh, realism.
And it was best articulated by a guy by the name of Reed. So common sense realism is I'm justified in believing in something if it appears that way in the absence of defeaters. Okay.
Why is it Scottish?
Because the either the originator of or the biggest proponent of common sense realism was a Scotsman by the name of Reed.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that's what I'm doing. I'm just saying it's similar to. Okay. So the point is, I'm showing them by even similar reasoning that they can't deny the appearance of design. Those who deny even the appearance of design are either liars or they're ignorant.
Thank you for that, Darth. I got it right here. Thomas Reed, and later developed by thinkers such as Douglas Stewart, James Beadle. It emerged largely as a response to radical skepticism, empirical skepticism, and especially the philosophy of David Hume. Human beings are rationally justified in trusting certain foundational beliefs immediately and naturally.
Yeah.
Meaning there are certain things we properly accept as self-evident, naturally perceived, or universally unavoidable without requiring infinite chains of proof.
As interesting as common sense realism is that things are not self-evident in the sense either they are God-evident or they're not evident at all. So that's where the fault comes in common sense realism. Not that common sense realism doesn't have a point or it doesn't have a certain amount of merit. People might say, well, the laws of logic are self-evident. Well, no, they're not. The reason why people react that way is because God has put the laws of logic in our hearts, right? Because of natural revelation. So somebody might try to argue for the truth or correctness of the laws of logic, saying that they're self-evident, or they might appeal to common sense realism, that it appears that way and they're justified that they're universal, apart from acknowledging that our usage of the laws of logic is revelational from God. So like I said, it's not that common sense realism isn't without merit, but it's ultimately flawed when used outside of the context of God's natural and special revelation. Yeah, it's a problem when you're dealing with somebody who there's a bit of a language barrier. They have broken English. They have an attitude. They're arrogant, and they're ignorant. You know, I went on to a woman's live, and she says God is not love, and I pointed out to her, you know, apart from God's revelation of Himself, you cannot say what is or is not true about Him. I said, in addition to that, when you say God is not love, you're making a value judgment for which you cannot have an objective referent for. Therefore, your characterization that God is not love is subjective and relativistic. Well, she probably had a seventh grade, mentality, and she just went into a tirade and then kicked me out. Just remember, we're dealing with a lot of people that are stupid on these issues. We're dealing with a lot of people that don't have a basic informal understanding of some of these categories. And in addition, some of these people are very morally compromised because they're committed to lying, teaching, evading, and disrupting. They don't care about being dishonest in a conversation as long as they maintain their false belief in their personal autonomy. I think what I'm going to do for a little mini project is have the various AIs pull up actual quotes that are very similar to the Dawkins quote in The Blind Watchmaker, where he says that there's an appearance of design. right?
Yeah. I already did that. I have like over 40 quotes of atheist academics in the field of science saying the same thing: appearance of design, appearance of design. Some even talk about the multiverse.
Put it in, put it in a text file, and then give me a link to it, and I'll download it because I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I will. I'll definitely do that. Definitely do that. Let's see.
But it's not just 40. There are many more quotations that we can accumulate, and for very highly educated, intelligent people, they know there's an appearance of design. Leonard Susskind, the world famous, brilliant physicist, who he's an atheist. And he was asked, you can see the clip on YouTube. Just type in Leonard Susskind and intelligent design. And it's a 4 or 5 minute clip where he asked, does the universe appear to be intelligently designed? And he says, yeah, it appears that way. He goes, but we used to think that way about biology, but then we discovered, the mechanism that produced it. And he says, one day we'll discover the mechanism that produced, this appearance of design or the fine tuning. Well, he's conceding the appearance of design.
Yeah, and appealing to a mechanism does not destroy the fact that it does still appear to be designed, and the fact that this cannot appear randomly.
Right. So if the world is created and is designed, and God purposes that the design that He's created appears to be designed, then we will recognize that the world appears to be designed, and then what you do is the whammy, that the way we push the antithesis, or do it in a Van Tillian way and a Romans 1 way, is to say the world appears to be overwhelmingly and uncontroversially appears to be designed, with the impossibility of the contrary. This is Van Til distilled the transcendental argument down to its barest semantic minimum, saying Christianity is true due to the impossibility of the contrary. But when he says Christianity is due to the impossibility of the contrary, the uneducated will just think he's just simply saying Christianity is true because skepticism failed. No, we're talking about Christianity and its own propositional positive representation. Christianity has a positive propositional representation for itself.
It's a model of reality.
And from that, it's a model of reality.
Yeah.
So that's why I add. So, but you see, Van Til didn't put it that way. But sometimes I have to reword some of the Van Tillian concepts that I've learned to more accurately communicate. And I've made similar mistakes in that I have a couple of acquaintances, on TikTok and Discord, who would jump in and make a clarification to somebody I'm talking to, and going, what Darth means by that is this. And then I would recognize, yeah, that's a really good clarification. So rather than saying it cannot be denied, we say it cannot be rationally denied.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to make it clear that it cannot be rationally denied, but God allows it. Okay. Are you eating something hot?
Yeah, my daughter didn't cool it. My daughter didn't cool it first. Whew. All right, I'm good now. Okay. I'm good now.
Yeah. So we say that there's an overwhelming positive indication in the world, and I say overwhelmingly and uncontroversially. So when I say overwhelmingly, that means from a subatomic all the way up to a cosmological level, it appears to be designed. That's where the overwhelming comes in. Then the uncontroversial part is that even elite atheist academics with PhDs in the corpus of their own writings have admitted the powerful appearance of design.
There are actually only 3 answers to the question of why does it appear to be designed. It's either illusion, multiverse, or God. That's what I found. Illusion, multiverse, or God.
No. It's the appearance of design because it is, or it's an illusion of design. There's not a third alternative.
So would you say that the multiverse answer is in the category of illusion of design?
Yeah, the multiverse would be a sub explanation within the response that it's an illusion of design.
Okay. So it's a true dichotomy.
Yeah. Well, welcome, Drew.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
All good.
What do you want to talk about?
There's something that appears to be designed. What does the word appear mean? Like, why do you have to say that it appears versus saying that it is designed?
Because saying that it is designed is talking about the origin of it in actuality. The appearance is just how it represents itself.
Right. Okay. So will appearance be pretty much? If I say it appears to be, would that be? I'm saying appear because I have a lack. Can I finish my? Can I finish?
Well, all right. I'm trying to explain it to you.
But let me finish though. So if I say something appears to be designed, am I saying that it appears because I have a lack of knowledge of anything else outside of it being appearing to be designed?
Yeah. Sometimes things can appear to be a certain way, but are not.
Right.
So, but the point is, there's no denying the appearance. Okay.
Right.
And so, when we recognize the overwhelming and uncontroversial appearance of design in the world, combined with the impossibility of the contrary, then the Bible is correct when it says that the world, the very existence around us, proves God.
Okay, but the thing about this is, would you say 3,000 years ago, our ancestors looked up in the sky, 4,000 years ago, looked up in the sky, and it appeared that that the sun revolved around the earth? The sun appeared to arc on the sky repeatedly. That's what the appearance was. They're drawing an inference from the appearance. They're drawing an appearance. Okay, but that conclusion has a defeater to it, because the appearance of the sun arcing in the sky could equally be explained that the sun the earth is rotating on its axis. No. 5,000, 4,000 years ago.
Yeah, I just agreed with you, my friend.
Well, you said our arc. I'm saying they thought that the sun.
No, the sun arcs in the sky. Well, you then have to draw an inference. Sir, the arcing is the appearance. Okay, when the sun arcs in the sky, the sun rises, the sun sets. Okay, that's what I'm referring to as arcing. Okay,
that's what we think today. That's what we know today. That's what it appears today.
Right. Are you an atheist?
But back then they thought the sun literally rotated around the earth.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Okay. Do you know the difference? Do you understand the difference between appearance and inference?
Yes. It appeared that the sun revolved around the earth.
What is okay? So the hold on a second. Okay, so what is your point?
My point is, when you use the word appear, you use the word appear because you lack knowledge of what is causing that thing.
No. Do you agree that the world appears to be designed?
Yes, I agree that the world appears to be designed.
Okay, good. Now, what is your model of reality?
A model of reality?
Yeah, are you an atheist or a theist?
Yeah, I'm a non-believer.
Okay. Now, so the world appears to be designed with the impossibility of the contrary of arguing that it's an illusion of design. Okay? So we have a proof for God's existence. Now, if you do not accept the proof, then it is incumbent upon you to defend that the world is an illusion of design by virtue of naturalistic occurrences. Can you do that?
I'm not too abreast with the terminology that you're using right now. It's not my field. I'm just being.
Okay. Is the world an illusion of design?
It appears to be designed.
No. Okay. Focus on what I'm saying to you. Does the world appear to be designed because it is, or is the world an illusion of design following the appearance of design?
Can you break that down? As far as meaning an illusion of design?
Yeah. Did naturalistic forces
produce the illusion of design?
The naturalistic forces produce the illusion.
Did the natural world produce an illusion of design?
Possibly.
Okay, well, sir, atheism is a negation of the creator. So either you're going to have to accept that the world appears to be designed because it is, or you're going to conclude that the world appears to be designed for non-God reasons. And you're an atheist. You said you're an unbeliever.
Yeah, let me just jump in on that. If you accept that the universe appears to be designed because it is, then you are a theist now. You believe in God. But if you don't, then you're going to have to defend an illusion of design, which is impossible.
What I'm saying is, I'm placing myself back 4,000 or 5,000 years ago when our ancestors looked up in the sky and the sun appeared to revolve around the earth. I stand like them. I stand in their place.
But we live in the present though. We don't live back then.
So Drew, let me explain something.
We live today, buddy.
Advocating for here. Yeah, what you're advocating is what is called common sense realism. So common sense realism says I'm justified in adopting the way something appears in the absence of a defeater. Okay, but there was a defeater for the sun revolving around the earth, and that is the earth is rotating on it. The earth rotates on its axis.
But did they know that back then?
Did they know it? They could have adopted that for those who
come on now. Did they know it or did they not? Did they know it or did they not?
Okay.
Know that the earth would revolve on its axis?
Okay. We only know it in our space age day.
Right.
Okay. So
we gained that knowledge.
Listen, sir. In Copernicus's day, okay, Copernicus' theory was not foolproof. It took quite a while for people to examine Copernicus' theory to abandon the geocentric view rather than the heliocentric view. The bottom line is this: if you do not accept that the world appears to be designed because it is, and therefore God purposed that it is, then you believe that the natural world itself produced an illusion of design, which you're going to have to give an account for. Can you do that?
All I'm saying to you right now, you meet.
Okay, I just asked you a question. If you dodge the question, I'm going to kick you. I'm going to kick you. I'm going to kick you. I'm going to kick you.
Yourself in the nuts.
I'm going. Okay.
You and me.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm not the one who's. I'm not the one who's stupid. Yeah. See, dodge, deflect, disrupt. Dodge, deflect, disrupt. This is what they do. Dodge, deflect, disrupt.
Darth, it's impossible to defend their stupid position. They can't defend illusion of design. They can't.
Notice that I asked him a direct question, and he decided he did not want to answer the question. So he became obstinate.
He can't answer the question. He can't.
Okay, notice how what I'm doing, okay, I'm following a Ventilian principle called pushing the antithesis. I'm laying out a dichotomy, a true dichotomy.
Yeah.
And I'm using a reductio ad absurdum.
Yeah.
That the denial of the proposition or propositional set leads to contradiction or absurdity.
And also the fallacy of retorsion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, go over that again.
The fallacy of retorsion is when you are denying the thing that you're depending on to deny the thing.
Okay, yeah, that would be the impossibility of the contrary there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the fallacy of, you said retortion.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome, Deadly. Your microphone is...
Wait a minute. I know this guy. Hey, Deadly. Use the same change argument you used on me with Darth Dawkins to see how he responds to it.
Huh?
The same change argument. That change always existed. Therefore, if God brings change into existence, that's a contradiction. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Try it with Darth. I think I handled it pretty well, but I think he can do better than me.
Go ahead. Give me your reasoning.
I didn't exactly plan to go ahead and talk about that, but
The argument essentially says that change must have always existed, because if it didn't exist, that would result in a contradiction. And if change exists and time exists, time is a feature of the universe. What's the contradiction? What's the contradiction? If change didn't always exist, we'd have a state without change that somehow changed into a state with change. That's a contradiction. That's not a problem. God is in eternity. He's without beginning, and he represents the first moment, a moment that doesn't begin. And from that first moment of his existence, he creates and brings about change. Okay. The idea of bringing about change is logically contradictory, because to say that you're bringing about change is to presuppose the existence of change before change exists. Yeah. So God makes a change within himself from not creating to creating, and when he initiates in his mind, he makes the decision to create. That brings about the external world. So there's a change in God that brings about a change in the bringing about of the external world. So there's no contradiction there. You're making a big mistake arguing this way with me. I'm too well educated on the topic, because you're bringing up the idea of time. Okay? So do you believe that change can only occur within the dimension of time? Yes, change is a time where change can only happen in time. Okay, okay. Is time a natured entity? What do you mean by that? See, an entity capable of acting. An agent, something that has properties and attributes. Is time the relationship between one or more events, two events? Sure. Okay, well then you're defining time abstractly, wherein time is not a natured entity. That would be a dimension that concretely encompasses or envelopes, only allowing for time. So God himself is the natured entity that provides for change. So there's no contradiction there. You need to study Ryan Mullen's work on time and God. You know who you're talking about. Dr. Ryan Mullins is an expert on God and time. Who is that?
It's a philosopher.
Okay, so you're making the common mistake that people make. Listen, sir, listen carefully. You're making a very common mistake in your thinking, because you haven't exposed yourself to robust ideas back and forth about the nature of time and change. You're thinking in a very colloquial way that people do. Okay, I agree. You're going to define time either as a natured entity or listen. Okay, you are going to define time either concretely or abstractly. Okay, you understand that before I continue? Sure, right. Okay, so you don't have the luxury of flipping and flopping back and forth between time being a dimension, a natured entity, versus time being an abstraction of a relation between events. So if you go to the dictionary just defines things colloquially as the indefinite progress of events. And this is typically how people use it, which is perfectly fine. Because in ordinary everyday discourse, we don't need philosophical precision. Yeah, that's right. But if you're going to stip your toe into the water of metaphysics, it's going to require precise thinking and precise terminology.
Yeah, let me also throw something else in there as well, because when I was studying this, I discovered this. The retorsion problem. The atheist often says to bring about change requires prior change, but this assumes all causation must be creaturely temporal causation. That assumption already excludes timeless causation, which is begging the question. So it's a begging the question fallacy to say that all causation must be creaturely temporal causation and not God causation.
That's
Okay.
Interesting. Timeless causation seems weird.
Okay, so in my view, time is an aspect of God's nature. Okay, so time is a nature. I'm going to give you Ryan Mullen's definition here, which I wholeheartedly agree with and support. Time is a natured entity that provides for the possibility and actuality of change. Time is a natured entity that provides for the succession of events and a coherent timeline. And that natured entity is God himself, who represents the first moment, a moment that doesn't begin, of his being, of his life. And from that first moment of God's life, he brings about all successive moments. Okay? So it's going to be a monumental task for you to defeat what I have just said.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So the first hurdle that you're going to have to cross is to tell me what is time. Either time is a natured entity or it's not. Now, I've gone step forward. I said time is a natured entity, and that is an aspect of God's nature. Okay, so if you tell me what is time, okay, is time a natured entity or not?
Let's see.
Because if you can't answer that question, then your whole argument vis-a-vis what is entailed for change to occur fails. So is time a natured entity, or is time simply the way we conceive or abstract the relation between events?
Honestly, I have not looked into this enough.
Okay, so therefore your argument implodes, it collapses, it's of no effect. Okay? See, you thought that argument was really smart, didn't you?
By the way, I have your argument in a syllogism because the last time we spoke, I recorded a syllogism. It goes like this. If change began to exist, then the transition from no change to change would itself be a change. Premise 2. If the transition from no change to change is itself a change, then change must already exist before change begins. Premise 3. Conclusion, rather. Therefore, change cannot begin to exist. Therefore, change must be eternal. If change is eternal, then an immutable God who creates temporal change cannot exist. Therefore, the immutable creator God does not exist. But I have a negator for the entire thing, and Darth went into it.
Well, he's basically conceded by his silence.
I have a syllogism that defeats it too, and you got into it very beautifully. But it's a very good syllogism, though. If the premises are true, it does the conclusion follows.
So here's the dilemma that you're in. What you're arguing for is an infinite regress. Okay, do you understand that?
Right.
Okay, an infinite regress is incoherent for several reasons. One, an infinite series cannot be traversed. Right? Do you understand that before I continue?
Actually, I don't remember the exact.
Please focus on what I'm saying to you. Okay, it is an infinite series cannot be traversed. You understand that?
I was thinking about that same topic, and I heard this interesting line of thought which went against the idea.
Sir, focus on what I'm saying to you instead of just babbling. Okay, can an infinite series be traversed? Yes or no?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so that's why an infinite series of cause and effect is incoherent. So that first thing undermines your argument. Okay, yeah, dude, you're ignorant. You don't know what you're talking about. Sir, okay, have a nice day. Okay, look, when I deal with people like you, when you combine ignorance with obstinance, it makes for a perfect storm. Okay, so you see, this is why it's difficult talking with these people, Adrian, is because it's a combination of factors. One, ignorance, and the other is pride, arrogance, and obstinance. Right? So the guy clearly, notice how he was a deer in the headlights. He couldn't answer the question, but he was so sure about his syllogism. But his syllogism was even with the first objection that I brought, that an infinite series can't be traversed. Right? He just what? You know, I mean, these guys are unbelievable. If you troll in the chat,
I mean,
let me just say this to the people in the chat.
Sure.
Birdman, if you don't stop trolling, and anyone else, if you troll in the chat, you're going to be subject to muting or blocking. So if you want to make a substantive disagreement, you're more than welcome to do, but then you're going to be required to come up and back that up. And if you don't, you're going to be subject to muting or blocking. So put up or shut up, right? You want to criticize us or me, okay, go for it, but you're going to require to come up. Don't come up and you're getting muted.
Yeah, I'm sure that he'll
come on up.
I'm sure that Deadly will start, to study what you pointed out and probably be more educated next time.
Okay, so I invited both Birdman and Living Leviathan to
we-
come up here. If they don't come up, they get muted.
Okay, this guy, I can't pronounce his name. I think it's written in Mandarin.
Okay, it goes with the English, the Bang guy. We'll call him Bang. What do you want to talk about, Bang?
Bang?
Yeah, that's what I'm calling you on the English. What do you want to talk about?
All right. So you're saying Yahweh existence is objectively provable, right?
Yeah, the Christian God is objectively provable.
Yeah. Yahweh is the Christian God.
So how is the objective proof?
I didn't hear you.
I said, what's the objective proof?
What is the objective proof? God's revelation is his proof. That revelation constitutes a set of propositions that are codified in the Bible, in that God reveals that he is the sum of all perfections within a model of reality. And without that final referent, meaning the nature of God being the sum of all perfections, then truth, reason, and intelligibility would be impossible. So it's what is called a reductio ad absurdum. Deny the proposition that God is the sum of all perfections, and he has revealed himself in creation and through the person of Jesus Christ, propositionally codified in the Bible. If you reject that, then your position is reduced to absurdity. Okay, it's called a reductio ad absurdum. So the Christian God's attribute set is the necessary precondition in order for there to be the actuality of truth, reason, and intelligibility. Deny that, and your position is reduced to absurdity. In other words, it's impossible. Okay?
Can I just, if I deny the book that claims some talking animals, I'm absurd. Is that right?
Your worldview, well, yes, for several reasons. Here's one of them.
Okay.
Your model of reality. Okay, please do not interrupt me. Okay. Now, you just committed a performative contradiction. You're objecting to a donkey talking in space and time, correct?
We're saying that's absurd, yeah.
Okay, now, in your worldview, nothing is impossible. Okay? So, that's a performative contradiction. You understand? In the Christian worldview, some things are impossible according to the nature and the plan of God. That's a closed system. You are operating from an open system, okay? Where nothing is impossible, correct?
I wouldn't say nothing is impossible, but...
Sir. Okay. Now, in your worldview, what is it ultimately that is impossible to cease to exist that will prohibit some things from happening? What makes anything impossible? Listen carefully.
I
what
listen.
Is it that is okay, be quiet. What is it in your worldview that is objective and identifiable that makes anything impossible?
So something that is logically incoherent. For example, if
No. Stop.
No, you stop.
You're not. I'm not gonna. I'm about to kick you. I'm about to kick you. Okay, goodbye. You're done. Okay, you see how obnoxious they are. See, I was not using my mod powers to be abusive. Okay.
No, Living Leviathan requesting.
Yeah.
You know him?
Yeah. Well, he was shooting his mouth off in the text, so we'll see how long he lasts before he resorts to dodge, deflect, and disrupt. You see, these people are ignorant, and they think because they can hold their own in debating with their peers, they have no idea that there's a world of, please do not interrupt me, that there's a world of difference between my skill level of debating and their skill level. They don't realize that they're not even anywhere near my skill level, you know. So repeat what you were saying in the text, Leviathan.
In the text, what did I say in the text that was an issue? I was muted without being warning, and
no,
you gave less than 2 seconds after.
Then you weren't listening.
Then could you repeat it, please?
Okay, you'll have to repeat what you were saying in the text because I don't bother to remember all the stupid. If you interrupt me one more time, I will eject you. Okay,
Adrian Kim, I think Darth is a little bit disingenuous, and he is taking over your live, muting people who are not disagreeing with you.
Now. He's trolling now.
I'm not trolling. I don't appreciate this, Darth. I will remember.
On both accounts. Okay, see how they go into troll mode? Right? Yes, Adrian lets me completely take over his take over his stream because I provide him with free books and free Fruit of the Loom underwear at least for 3 years. That is why Adrian lets me take over.
Guys, it's out of the closet now. There's no way of refuting anything. It just happened.
No. I need to qualify. It's brand new Fruit of the Loom.
It's brand new.
Tidy whities. Okay.
It's all out of the closet now.
He's not about to turn down free, brand new, clean underwear. You know, and he gets free books.
Thousands of them. Thousands. And yes. Cyber Dad. Yes. There's a guy named Cyber Dad. You know Cyber Dad? Requesting up.
Cyber Dad? No, I don't know.
Cyber Dad. Because I gotta be careful who I bring up because some of them are trolls and I don't want to bring our trolls up.
Okay, go ahead, Cyber Dad. What do you want to talk about?
Well, the text, Yahweh's existence is objectively provable. I can't prove it, so I'm happy to learn. How do you prove it?
Okay, so when we look at the propositional content that God has given and revealed about himself, codified and preserved as in the Bible as his testimony, we look that his attribute set that he has revealed to us provides the only possible rational worldview with the impossibility of the contrary. So that's a reductio ad absurdum. That the denial of the presentation of the revelation of the Christian God results in absurdity and contradiction.
But people
don't confuse. Okay. Cyber Dad, you're confusing proof with persuasion. The fact that people are not persuaded and won't accept the proof that has been given is the result of their own illegitimate confirmation bias, and that is why they are not persuaded. Right? Now, when we present the proof, if somebody says you haven't proven it, what they really mean is you haven't persuaded me. But in order for them to be persuaded, they have to repent of their false belief that they are independent and autonomous players on this earth. Okay?
Yeah. And proof is not persuasion.
Given. If you do not accept it, if you do not accept the proof that was just given, then you have to offer a formal rebuttal. It is not a rebuttal for you to go, oh, you haven't proven it, or I don't accept that. Okay? So what we have presented that the Christian God has revealed himself in creation and through Jesus Christ, revealing that his attribute set constitutes the sum of all perfections. So we will only be able to speak intelligibly and have access to truth, reason, and any real discussion of actuality, ultimately undergirded by the perfection of God himself, or not. If you do not accept the revelation of God that has been propositionally given, representing the Christian worldview in the Bible, then you will be operating from an alternative worldview that putatively there's a foundation to ground truth, reason, and intelligibility, which you're going to have to explain. But that is an impossible endeavor, because in order to give an account of the true worldview, it would have to be undergirded by a perfect self-revealing God. Deny that there's a perfect self-revealing God, and you've committed a performative contradiction, which is incoherent. So the non-acceptance of the revelation of the Christian God is incoherent. It's irrational. That's how we can know the Christian God's revelation codified in the Bible, ultimately in terms of the self-referential identity claims of Jesus Christ. This is how we can know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is true, because of its own positive representation and the impossibility of its rational denial.
Well, do you have a degree in philosophy?
No.
It sounds that way. This, what you're speaking, is beyond reads of many people.
Well, that's what happens when you read.
They're not ChatGPT arguments. Come on. Anyone can read and learn and be an expert in knowledge. You don't have to have a certification.
This is spontaneously. Yeah, this is not from AI. This is from my own diligently reading and studying and practicing debating and constantly refining the presentation and to easily digestible presentation.
Because CyberDad, we can do the things that all the experts do, and it's reading. Just read and remember what you read. That's all.
Okay. Do you accept the propositional revelation of the Christian God? Yes or no?
I don't even understand the question.
Okay. Have a nice day.
Dylan. I think I know Dylan.
You know, we have people that can tell you the names of pop songs and pop singers and certain celebrities' names, but they couldn't even tell you, the names of some of the Supreme Court justices.
What the hell? God has pronouns?
Okay, Mr. Pronouns. He has 0 followers, so he's probably a troll. You better start talking right now. And if you don't conduct yourself like an adult, it's going to be an instant ejection. Go ahead, sir.
What did you ask? I wasn't listening.
Okay, what is your point? What do you want to talk about?
Now, what do you mean? What is my point? I'm debating.
Why are you here? Why? Okay, good. Go ahead.
Well, I'm waiting for the host. That's who I'm here to talk to.
Well, I'm a co-host.
There are a lot of
atheists
and unbelievers.
Go ahead, sir.
Well, I'm waiting for him. It's his prompt, right?
No, please continue, or I'm going to eject you.
Continue what?
What do you want to talk about?
Well, the prompt says Yahweh, his existence is objectively provable, so I was just waiting for that.
Okay, so the Christian God has revealed himself.
I'll listen if you do.
I'll give it to you right now. Please do not interrupt. So the Christian God has revealed himself in a rationally undeniable way in creation, and he's also revealed himself in a rationally undeniable way through the prophets, ultimately in Jesus Christ. And when we look at that propositional content, it reveals that the God of the Bible is the sum of all perfection. Okay, have a nice day. Okay, bye. You're done. When you're obnoxious and you're rude while I'm explaining something to you, you're done. Okay? There's nothing tyrannical about it. When these people violate basic rules of conduct, I'm not putting up with it. Okay? There's nothing tyrannical about it. It's just that I'm not loosey-goosey. I've been doing this for 16 years, and I have no toleration for people who are extremely ignorant, arrogant, or decide they want to be altogether uncooperative. Okay? I can tolerate people strongly disagreeing. What I will not tolerate is bad behavior. Look, Adrian gave me a hard time last week, and I sent him to bed without dessert. Okay, so I'm not going to tolerate any bad behavior.
Hey, you know what? This is interesting. I was reading, even the denial of God indirectly presupposes the God whose revelation and intelligibility make the possibility of denial possible. So
that's right. That's why
to even reject God is to presuppose God. Is how amazing this is.
Yeah, and the reason they God, or they have an unconscious pre-commitment to God, is because in order to deny something requires an identity statement. And the identity statement either has to be ultimate and absolute itself, from which we would derive the law of non-contradiction, right? It would have to be absolute in itself, or the identity statement used to deny God would depend upon an ultimate identity statement that would be characteristically not God. So to deny God, well, see, this is why Van Til would say atheism presupposes theism. Did you catch that, Adrian?
Yeah. Fallacy of retortion.
He would phrase it. He would refer to it as anti-theism, but we would use the term atheism. So Van Til would communicate atheism presupposes Christian theism, in that in order to rationally deny any identity state is going to require a pre-commitment. These are my ways of describing it. It's going to require a pre-commitment or a presupposition of the actuality of an ultimate identity state, from which they will employ the law of non-contradiction against any other proposed identity state, and in this case, God. But without the God of the Bible being the ultimate identity state, then there won't be an ultimate identity state that has the sufficient attributes and properties from which to deploy the law of non-contradiction. So what they don't realize, like, for example, sometimes these Philbro atheists will say, how is atheism false? What's the contradiction? And the contradiction is a performative contradiction. By the way, that article on performative, Trentinel performative arguments, Adrian B something I told you about, it's in the Bonson folder. That's a must read on your reading list.
Yeah, atheist Adrian Bardone. I was going to say something. Damn.
Yeah, that's a must read. You must read that until you've mastered it, because part of a biblical apologetic is showing the performative contradiction of unbelief.
When an atheist says that okay, what is the contradiction? They think you mean an abstract or conceptual contradiction, but performative contradictions is actually a very valid form of contradiction within philosophical literature. So
that's what the paper is masterful.
The very fact that they commit a performative contradiction in rejecting God, shows that their position is false.
And so there are some performative contradictions are easy to discern, and there are performative contradictory scenarios at increasingly levels, because of the sophistication of the analysis, require greater explanation and thought. So for example, in the article, he talks about a performative contradiction that Kant delineated, and it's not obvious. Okay, it requires great care and thought to show the performative contradiction, and so the unbelievers are simply blissfully unaware that the denial of God is in fact a performative contradiction, because without an absolute, identifiable, defensible ultimate that functions as the primary identity state, then you're not going to be able to deploy the law of non-contradiction. The law of non-contradiction is going to require an identity state, and an identity state, in order for it to be real, either has to be absolute in itself or derives and depends and is contingent upon an ultimate identity state.
Right. Okay? Right.
But in order to put out in order to invoke and ground an ultimate identity state, it's going to have the attributes set of God, in that he is self-revealing, he is the sum of all perfections. Otherwise, there's no ultimate identity state to put on the table. So there's two problems: the ontological and epistemological. Epistemologically, you couldn't know it, right? And ontologically, it doesn't have the attribute set of God, therefore destroying any epistemological principles. So it's both ontological and epistemological. And the reason why I come up with this response is it's a refutation of what is called it's called the Stroudian objection, which Joshua Pillows goes over meticulously and brilliantly counters in the book, The Objective Proof of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's another must-read book, because sometimes, in rare instances, you might have a sophisticated person, both believer or unbeliever, bring up the Stroudian objection. But by the way, the Stroudian objection wasn't really a response to Tag, but it was just an objection to certain transcendental arguments. But you notice most of the people that we're dealing with, we have multiple problems. One of which is they're ignorant on basic reasoning about metaphysics, logic, and philosophy and theology. We're dealing with people that are quite ignorant, but that's not an insurmountable problem, because we can work with people that are uninformed. We can continue to simplify and dumb things down for them and walk them through these concepts that may be a little bit difficult for them because of their lack of study or practice. But the more significant problem is the belligerence, it is the immature behavior that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
Welcome, North. What do you want to talk about?
What's good? I just want to give a clarification. It's easy to get my questions answered if I'm up here. You said earlier that I believe you said that if you are an atheist, that is you said that it's a contradiction in itself.
It's a performative contradiction.
Right. Okay. And I just want to get some clarification on that before I further ask more questions. I'm not a skilled debater, so a lot of the terms you might use might go over my head. So if you could use layman.
I'm happy to work with anyone who disagrees. So a performative contradiction is a proposition or a statement that is self-referential in terms of its own semantic content, or the background information that would be needed in order for the proposition or statement to be true, undermines or contradicts the proposition. So atheism is the denial of the existence of God. The denial of something, and in this case God, is what we call predication. The sky is blue. When we predicate, we say the sky is blue, the sky is not blue. We have affirmation and denial. Assertion and denial. Now, the denial of the existence of God under the standard definition of atheism is predicating. It's basically making an indirect identity statement. That is, the world exists with God independence. There is no God. The world is, and the world is without God. So that's either a direct or an indirect denial of God. But the reason why it's a performative contradiction is without an ultimate identity state, all right, that is identifiable, then there's no basis for predication of affirmation and denial. So because the God of the Bible is, and that he's revealed himself, he both is and that we know of his existence, from his identity state, we can ground all dependent, derivative, or contingent identity states, and thus we can predicate, we can affirm and deny. When one attempts to predicate, affirm, and deny identity states without God, there's no ultimate identity state that is absolute, that cannot fail to be, that grounds any contingent identity states that would be used to negate God. So in order to negate A, you have to present not A. So in order to negate God, you have to invoke an identity state, one or more, each of which exists with independence from God. But that's an impossible endeavor. Because in order to say that there's an identity state, a tree, a dog, a cat, a star, a moon, whatever, exists with independence from God, you would have to explain why anything ultimately exists and how it exists with independence from God. So you would need an ultimate identity state that's going to provide for all non-ultimate identity states or identity states that are contingent. So the bottom line is this, is that the denial of God is irrational because it's a performative contradiction. In other words, there's no not A presented in order to falsify A. It's just not A is a naked assertion. It cannot be justified.
Okay, so just trying to make sure I'm tracking here. So you're saying that pretty much you would have to prove that these other things exist without the presence of a God in order for it not to be a performative.
In order to falsify God, you would have to show that everything that can and does exist with independence from God. So you would have to invoke an identity state, okay, whatever that might be, that exists eternally and with that it's absolute within itself. I mean, in other words, it cannot fail to be, it cannot fail to exist, okay, and it exists with independence from God. Well, that's impossible to do. So that means, therefore, that atheism is a performative contradiction.
And this is entirely based off the concept that God is proven. I'm not debating. I'm just here to get like clarification.
No, we're just showing that atheism is a performative contradiction.
Right. So okay. I'm not sure if I'm fully tracking. That's what I'm trying to make sure.
Okay. So a proposition or a statement: the sky is blue.
Right.
Okay. So let me explain it a little differently. Suppose somebody says the sky is plaid. Okay, the sky is plaid. Now that would be a performative contradiction because the sky, given physics, the background information, cannot provide for plaidness. Okay.
So, right. So that just bringing you back to the question I'm having though. So this argument is based upon the idea that God is proven to be real, and to say otherwise would mean
we're always whenever we speak, you or I or anyone else, both atheist and theist, every time we predicate, if I just say my nose itches or I'm thirsty or the sky is blue, whenever we predicate the actuality and intelligibility of states of affairs, it will either be with a pre-commitment that God is and that he's revealed himself, thereby granting our ability to predicate, or we'll be operating in principle to the pre-commitment that God is not and God is not necessary. So regardless of what comes out of somebody's mouth, it will either have a pre-commitment to the necessity of God or a pre-commitment to the non-necessity of God. And by the way, Adrian, I hope you take note that I use the term pre-commitment rather than saying presuppose, because the term presupposition and presuppose within the transcendental argument has been greatly misunderstood and abused and misrepresented. So when I say a pre-commitment, that is going to circumvent a lot of misconceptions and misrepresentations. So I have been replacing the use of presuppose or presupposition with pre-commitment. Okay.
Yeah, because
so when the
yes, because it could be misunderstood. So yeah, it's good to use pre-commitment.
Pre-commitment is avoiding a pre-commitment is avoiding any unnecessary misconceptions or misrepresentations of the word presuppose. So atheism has a pre-commitment that it can predicate in a God-independent world and thereby asserting there is no God. But predication is impossible in a God-free world because there is no identifiable, defensible ground of being that has the attribute set that will permit the viability of predication. So even the attempt to refute God contradicts itself because God would be required as the sum of all perfections, as the ground of all being, permitting or facilitating our ability to reason or have access to truth or to predicate. So atheism, unbeknownst to atheists, because they're not interested in falsifying their own position. It would be like a defense attorney trying to show the jury that his client committed the murder. He's not going to do that. So atheism is incoherent on its own terms.
Okay, so I'm hearing what you're saying, but every time when I'm processing it, it just sounds like, and this isn't to like upset you, but it sounds like a burden ship. It sounds like, okay, well.
Hey, Gager, Darth brought you up. It wasn't me. So if he drops you, it's not me. Okay? I'm going to sit back.
It sounds like a burden ship, simply like how I'm interpreting it is, well, God is everything. God is here. There is defined. There's no burden
shifting. Okay, because we're making we've already made a positive case for God. Now, right, okay. If burden shifting, let me explain something to you. Burden shifting would only be valid, that criticism would only be valid, is if I merely assert God's existence and I say, now prove me wrong.
Yeah, it's called the burden shifting fallacy, North. It's called the burden shifting fallacy.
My point being is that, so you're saying that there is definitive proof that there is a God, and that since there is definitive proof that there is a God.
I just gave it to you that the world is definitive proof that it is emblematic and indicative of ultimate intentional design, with the impossibility of its rational denial by arguing it's an illusion of design. Okay, so we have an objective argument for God's existence, that the world is revelatory of God, and the atheist, in order to rebut that, is going to have to argue that the world is not revelatory of God. So burden shifting would be as if I asserted a proposition without a positive defense of it, and then for you to say, well, unless you prove me wrong, therefore it's true. So what many atheists do on the internet, when they are called on the carpet to support their God denialism, they go, you're shifting the burden of proof, because they're operating from what is called the presumption of atheism, that an atheist is justified in adopting atheism in the absence of convincing evidence. And therefore, when we ask them to defend their atheism, they philosophically, logically, incorrectly characterize it as burden shifting. It's not burden shifting, because we've already made a positive case for the existence of God.
Right. So again, you're saying because the world exists as it does, there is a God. This is an intentional design that thus means there is a God.
Okay, so I'm going to run through this very quickly with you. The world overwhelmingly, and by the way, I can back up meticulously every word that I'm going to say here. The world overwhelmingly and uncontroversially appears from the smallest possible scale all the way up to a cosmological level. The world appears to be designed with the impossibility of arguing the contrary, that it's an illusion of design. So when we have an overwhelming positive case or appearance that something is, combined with the impossibility of its negation, we have a proof. Okay? Now, ignorant skeptics will try to deny the appearance of design, which will either be a response of ignorance or that they're lying, because atheist academics, by the dozens and dozens and dozens, agree that the world appears to be designed. That the world appears to be designed at all different scales is uncontroversial. Okay? So in order to defeat the positive representation that the world appears to be designed, because it is, combined with the impossibility of its rational denial, one is going to have to argue that the world is an illusion of design. But that's an impossibility.
Okay, so again, you're arguing that because the world is, you're saying the world has proof of design because of how, like, what we know about the world, and that in itself proves that.
We believe that, okay, listen carefully. If we believe that anything is true, it's because one will believe that there is good or strong positive support that it is, either with the absence of negators or the impossibility of a negator. Do you believe that oxygen and water are necessary to keep you alive?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you do so because there's strong positive indicators for that, combined with the impossibility of its negation?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Okay, good. Well, that's the same argument we have for God.
Like 2 weeks or a month at a time.
Okay. So the world overwhelmingly appeared, and by the way, when we say overwhelmingly, when we look at the world from the smallest to the grandest scale, the appearance of design is mind-boggling. It's overwhelming, the level of meticulous appearance of design. Now, the only way to respond to this powerful argument is to argue that the world is an illusion of design, but that's an impossibility.
Okay, so
Question. Hold on, start.
Gager, please wait. I'm almost done with North. Gager, please wait. I said, please wait. I don't want to have to remove you. I don't want to have to remove you. I don't want to have to remove you. Please wait.
Just give me a second, bro. I'm almost done again. I'm almost wrapped up.
North, anything else?
I'm just again. I'm just trying to make sure I understand your point. So, like you just used the example of water and oxygen and et cetera, right? But I think the key difference or the disconnect here is that, like you you need oxygen, you need water to survive. Like we can.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
Because it's a biological necessity.
No, you're just repeating the same thing. You're not telling me how you know it.
That is how I'm saying we know it's a biological. That's the key to life.
You're not. Dude. You're not responding to what I'm saying. When I ask you how do you know it, you're just asserting its truth. I didn't ask you whether to tell me that you believe it's true. I said, how do you know it's true?
Because if you don't have it, you will die.
Yeah, so that's right. So you're arguing from the impossibility of the contrary.
I'm simply saying we know this is a fact.
Sir, you're ignoring what I just said to you.
Okay, I don't understand why you're getting upset.
Because you're ignoring what I'm saying to you. Okay, have a nice day. Okay, you're done.
Right. I've been calm the entire time.
No, yeah. You're cordially ignoring what I'm saying to you. Okay, so it's wonderful that you're speaking in a cordial way. But nonetheless, ignoring what I'm saying to you and then just going wah, 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 like Charlie Brown's teacher is a cheating tactic. Okay, you don't have the luxury of ignoring what I'm saying. You can disagree with what I'm saying, but if you ignore what I'm saying, that's a cheating tactic. Go ahead, Gager.
So first of all, I want you to prove that you're not a white racist bitch and don't drop me. That's one. And secondly,
okay, have a nice day. You're done. Bye. Goodbye. Bye. Yeah, you were trolled the whole time. Okay, bye. Yeah, these people are more. Yeah, aren't there any intelligent unbelievers out there? Now, the second to last previous guest, he got an A.
What the hell just happened? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Gager, you got to stop doing that, man. You got to stop doing that, bro.
Yeah. So for example, you can be very cordial to a police officer when he pulls you over in a car, but if you don't provide the documents that he requires legally, then you get punished. Okay? It's not enough to be cordial. You have to not cheat in the conversation. So if I present a point to you, okay, that I am reasonably expecting for you to focus and respond to, if you ignore it and then you just start talking, that's cheating, right? So I don't like to talk with cheaters. If you want to respond to a point that I give and categorically disagree, then that's fine. We can disagree. But when you ignore points, see, this is what you got to learn, Adrian. This is one of the many tactics that they pull. When you make a powerful point, they will pretend that they're cogently responding to the point, all the while they're ignoring it and they're just going yada, yada, yada. This is such a common occurrence. I wish I had $1 every time I've experienced it.
Yeah, you'd be rich.
Okay?
You'd be rich.
This is why I coined the 3D strategy. Dodge, deflect, disrupt. Okay?
Hey,
God
Tupac. Hey, Tupac. I'm gonna bring you up. I'm gonna bring you up, Tupac. I'm gonna bring you up.
No. Tupac is
Oh,
a troll.
well, that's not my experience. But if he's a troll with you, then I understand because he would have to talk to you.
Oh no. Excuse me. I misspoke. I thought you said Tupac, like somebody using the name Tupac Shakur. Okay.
Oh no.
Tupac. Okay. All right.
Tupac.
Okay, my mistake.
Oh boy.
Okay. Welcome, Tupac. What do you want to? My mistake. I thought you were saying another word. I thought you were saying Tupac.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up, Adrian?
I'm good. I'm just learning from Darth. He's my teacher. You interact and do your thing. Wait, ask him the question about what benefit is there to being a Christian. Maybe he has a better answer for you.
Yeah, that's the main question I have to ask as well. So if you want to answer it, sir, I would appreciate it.
What's the benefit of being a Christian?
Of believing.
Oh, the benefit is that you are forgiven of your sins and of the wrath that is to come. Okay. Number two, you now are able to think and reason coherently about your model of reality, and you're no longer in a state of darkness and deception. Because non-Christians, regardless of how smart they are, regardless of any academic achievement, are still thinking in a darkened and convoluted way about their world.
And also one thing, Tupac, your position of physicalism is self-refuting because the statement only physical things exist is itself not a physical statement. It can't be verified physically, and therefore the entire worldview itself is self-refuting and therefore false. But you can change it if you want.
Yeah. So I mean, we just come to understand, right, through consciousness, to know that there's only physical things that exist, right? Whether we want to think,
how would you know that universally is true?
And it's false by virtue of self-referential inconsistency and contradiction.
You're making a universal statement that you couldn't possibly know.
Yeah, I mean, when you speak, I actually allow you to finish because
I know that. How do you know that anything is universally true? Answer that.
Yeah, so universally true would be based on my five senses, right? I use my five senses to...
Yeah.
I use my five...
That's a fail. No, that's a fail. You're wasting my time. You can't determine universals by induction. When you appeal to your five senses, you're appealing to induction. Induction cannot get to logically necessary universal truth. Do you understand that?
How do you prove something is true?
Okay, how do you prove something? How do we do that? We show that something is true by a positive propositional representation and the impossibility of the contrary.
Okay, so can you give me a logical argument that something a unicorn exists and make that is true?
If we had evidentiary support for that, then we could establish from that evidentiary support the positive representation and the impossibility of its negation. Okay.
So what is missing?
You're asking me to prove something that I don't believe. So we prove things by a positive propositional representation and the impossibility of its denial or negation. That's how you prove things.
So once you believe it, that makes it automatically provable, correct?
You please speak a little slower and repeat what you said.
Once you believe it, that's automatically make it true. That's your argument.
That's not that. That is a straw man representation.
I am asking you,
sir. You just misrepresented what I said. When we present a positive representation that something is true, a positive propositional representation combined with the impossibility of its negation or denial, then we have a proof that something is true.
Okay. What makes it positive?
What makes it when we give reasons that something is the case.
So once you give reasons for something be the case, that makes it positive.
Yeah, if you give reasons for something, you're giving a positive representation.
Okay,
and
so if I give a reason for a unicorn, does that make it positive?
Well, that would be a positive reason, but one could bring up a defeater or a negator.
Okay, great. So I am asking you now, my rebuttal right now with your claim that a God exists external of what we observed. Please, I'm asking you, what empirical evidence do you have right now to verify, quantify, or even demonstrate any kind of phenomena that explain that being?
Okay. The world overwhelmingly, from the smallest scale to the grandest cosmological scale, the world meticulously appears to be the product of ultimate intentional design with the impossibility of the contrary. This is uncontroversial that the world appears to be designed. Atheist academics have, by the dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens, have agreed that the world overwhelmingly appears to be designed, but they qualify that by saying it's an illusion of design. My position is that the world overwhelmingly, from the smallest to the grandest scale, appears to be the product of ultimate intentional design with the impossibility of its rational denial.
Appearance does not equal appearance.
You're not focusing. Do you understand that I'm not arguing merely for appearance? I'm talking about an overwhelming appearance combined with the impossibility of its denial.
So it's either you're gonna let me talk or you're gonna block me and drop me like you did all the time.
No, I'm going to remove you because you have two things. You're uninformed, you're uneducated, and you're being uncooperative. Do you understand what do you know what a reductio ad absurdum is?
Yes, I do. But guess what?
Okay, I'm giving you a reductio.
Go ahead and remove me. Go ahead.
Goodbye. Yeah, I am removing you because you're just being obnoxious. So you are completely ignoring, which is cheating. You are ignoring that I'm giving you a reductio ad absurdum. What you're doing is you're misrepresenting my position, that I'm only saying that there's a positive representation. I said it's a positive representation combined with the impossibility of the contrary. Okay? And you are ignoring the second half of the equation. Okay? So if you want to cheat, go ahead, but I'm not going to allow you to continue to cheat by ignoring my presentation. Okay? Welcome, Real. What do you want to talk about?
I just, I was like, I'm a Christian. I was so I was so happy with the way that you.
You need to slow down so I can Sir, you need to slow down so I can understand you because of your accent.
Okay. People normally tell me that our tone is rather slow. Like the way we speak is very slow, but it's fine. Yeah. Okay. So I'm saying that I was, in fact, I've learned a lot on your panel today, and I'm very pleased with like a panel like this because you presented a very solid reason. Okay, I've been figuring it out for a long time, but I have not actually put it together in the kind of beautiful words that you used. So I came up to come and comment.
Okay, we wanted to. If you want to learn more, read the book Every Believer Confident. Okay, Every Believer Confident. Read that book.
Yeah.
That's it for starters.
Yeah, I read a lot. I'm a Bible student. I'm also into.
Okay, good. All right. Thank you for coming. We're gonna move on. Okay. Welcome, that. What do you want to talk about?
I want to say, I heard you say, like,
yeah, your microphone quality is very bad. I need to fix it.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, it sounds like you're underwater. All right, you got to fix your microphone. Yeah, if you come up here and you have a crappy microphone, then it's going to be a no-go. See, this is the biggest problem that I have. I have people ignoring aspects of what I'm presenting to them, or they will respond with a misrepresentation of what I've said. Okay? If you're going to every believer confident. Okay, go ahead, sir.
All right, is that better for you?
That is better, thank you.
All right, sorry about that. Going off of, well, I'll just ask a question that I want to ask. What proof is there that the God that you speak of, because of this empirical evidence of unique design, is the Abrahamic God?
Due to the positive representation of what he has revealed about his attribute set, that his attribute set consists of the sum of all perfections, and without our world being undergirded by the sum of all perfections, meaning the character set of the God of the Bible, then human reason, truth, intelligibility, and any discussion of actuality would be impossible.
And he can do this by he can bring this this truth through.
Look,
man.
dude, you need stop. You have too much background noise. Okay. All right. You need to get to a quiet place. Welcome, Paul. What would you like to talk about?
What's up, man?
What's up? What do you want to talk about?
Not much. I'm just looking to become a Christian. Get some arguments as to why.
Yeah, well, God has revealed himself in creation in a rationally undeniable way. The world overwhelmingly appears to be designed with the impossibility of his denial, and God has revealed himself through the prophets, ultimately in Jesus Christ. And that revelation has been propositionally codified in the Bible, representing the only possible rational worldview.
Okay.
So Jesus Christ's self-identity claims are true due to its own self-referential, self-authenticating nature, in that they positively represent themselves with the impossibility of their negation. There isn't it is the only possible rational worldview, thereby confirming that he is who he says he is.
What makes it impossible?
What makes it impossible is because that the worldview that you would be speaking of, from which to deny it, will not have the attributes, being the sum of all perfections, to have access to truth, reason, and intelligibility. You won't have an ontological basis for truth and reason and intelligibility.
Are you talking about a foundation, so to speak?
Sure, yeah, an ultimate metaphysical foundation.
Now,
foundation. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Now here's the thing. I don't necessarily disagree with you if you're talking from within your framework. But the thing is, I am what's called an anti-foundationalist. I don't think knowledge needs a foundation. Why should I think knowledge needs a foundation?
Okay, so do you accept that knowledge loosely is a justified true belief?
Loosely, yeah, with some caveats.
Okay. So in order to know something, right, you're going to have access to its contextualization. You understand that?
Contextualization meaning?
Meaning the framework from which makes something real and knowable.
Okay.
Okay, so in order for a proposition or a true statement to be known, it must be intelligible, okay? And it's only going to be intelligible in terms of its framework. So a proposition will either be true if and only if it is absolute within itself. It cannot fail to be. It cannot fail to persist. Or there is something that is absolute that provides for the contingency of the proposition. So in other words, there has to be an ultimate framework in order to have access to that things are true.
Well,
ultimate framework, then okay, if you don't have an ultimate framework for a truth statement, then the truth statement itself is uninterpretable. It doesn't mean anything, and because it doesn't. There's no background information for what it is or is not, so it's uninterpretable.
I mean, the background information.
I want you to, sir, listen to me. No, you're not. Okay. So I'm gonna try to be nice here. You're just responding in an uninformed way. Okay. Your senses may be a means by which you can know something, but your senses do not causally create and sustain the external physical world. So your senses is not your senses is a proximate explanation, but not an ultimate explanation.
Why do you need an ultimate explanation? I think the proximate is more than
because then okay. So imagine we have a dartboard has a bullseye in it, right? And then it has increasing circles around it. It has approximate circles on another circle, and the circles become wider. Okay. So if you invoke a proximate explanation for a fact that you know it, then you're going to have to explain the proximate circle. Otherwise, all the circles that are contained within it are uninterpretable. In other words, there's nothing that is objectively or ontologically dictating what is or cannot be. So when you're unfamiliar with certain concepts in metaphysics, you think by invoking a proximate explanation that is sufficient. And that's fine when you're talking about colloquial things. But when we're talking about metaphysical considerations, you're going to need to have a final frame of reference. Because without one, then everything within the so-called system is uninterpretable. And if something is uninterpretable, you don't know it.
Okay. Well, again, I don't necessarily disagree if we're going to presuppose your definitions, but from my definitions of knowledge and everything like that, I also don't even believe in absolute knowledge. I believe in practical, everyday knowledge.
No, you're not understanding. Okay, so knowledge is a subset of belief states. Do you understand that? Okay, so if we have a big circle on a chalkboard and I write a word that describes everything within the circle, we call those belief states. Knowledge states is going to be a subset within the wider circle. So a belief is a positive attitude that something is true. Knowledge, likewise, is a positive attitude that a proposition is true. The difference between the two is that we draw a line of demarcation when the belief state has a greater degree of warrant and justification and it crosses a line in our thinking of demarcation, then we call those belief statements knowledge. Okay? Now, rarely do people believe things from their perspective for which they think that they have no warrant and justification. People will believe that they have warrant and justification for many of their beliefs. But if it doesn't pass a line of demarcation where there's a greater degree of warrant and justification, then they call it a belief. Once that belief state surpasses or crosses that line of demarcation, where they have a greater degree of warrant and justification, they then call that belief state knowledge. Okay? Now, knowledge requires interpretability, but interpretability is just us not just invoking some subjective description of something. Interpretability means that something is what it is in terms of what causes what it is or what it cannot be. Right? So interpretability requires an ultimate frame of reference. Otherwise, well, then you're not understanding the scenario, because if let me explain it to you, because I'm educated on this. I want you to listen. I want you to listen. You're not. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, stop. I want you to stop. There's no point in you giving me a syllogism, because I know that you're not. Okay, sir. Okay. If you ask a reason for, okay, do you accept arbitrary statements?
Arbitrary meaning, can you give an example?
Everything you're saying to me is wrong.
Okay.
Do you accept that? Do you accept that?
I wouldn't necessarily accept that. I would think it's framework dependent.
Okay, so will you accept that it is true because I say that you're wrong? Will you accept that?
Accept that it's true because you say that I'm wrong?
Yeah, you're wrong. Do you accept that?
Again, from your framework, maybe, but I don't personally agree.
No, sir.
Well, I'm not going to give you a yes or no answer.
It's not a trick. Okay, listen. I'm getting frustrated with you because you're not exhibiting a mature way of thinking about this. I'm not asking you okay, sir, interrupt me again and you're ejected.
Okay.
Now, you need to focus. I'm not asking you a trick question.
Everything okay?
You and I and Adrian and other people do not accept arbitrary declarations because they are deemed to be irrational. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you accept that the moon is made of green cheese?
Personally, no.
Okay, because you believe that it's an irrational statement. It's arbitrary. It is without justification. Okay? So arbitrary declarations are categorized to be irrational, and we don't accept irrationality, correct?
Sure.
Now, if you assert a proposition or statement that is without final context, then it will be arbitrary. Understand?
I just don't agree with that. Again, I think that's
okay. You're not understanding. Okay. If you assert a proposition, okay, without an explanation, without a rationale, it will be arbitrary. Now, if you make an assertion, but you give me a rationale for why it's true, right? That rationale will either be ultimate or not ultimate. If the explanation for the proposition is not ultimate, then the explanation itself will have to be explained. It doesn't matter how many sequential rings of proximate explanation that you give. Because if your final proximate ring of explanation for the central proposition is not categorized as being absolute and ultimate, then everything contained therein, all of the proximate explanations, concentrically within itself, will be arbitrary as well. It doesn't matter. Let me try to explain it to you in a little different way. Suppose you're working on a skyscraper and you're a construction worker and you are hanging off the side of the building by a chain, okay? Your securely hanging from the building and not falling to your death depends on an unbroken linkage from the first link that is conjoined to you all the way up to the hook. Okay? Now, if you say you are secure from hanging from the building because you're linked, you are linked to 5 links. I want to know, is the final link secured to the building? Because if it's not, it makes no difference that you're connected to 5 links, 10 links, 100 links, 1,000 links. If the outermost or final link isn't secured to the building, then you're not secure. So, unless when you invoke a proposition, if the proposition is not grounded as true and interpretable and real by virtue of a final frame of reference, then the proposition itself is metaphysically uninterpretable. It doesn't matter that you invoke several proximate rings of explanation, because if the outermost ring, if the final ring of explanation, it could be 1 ring of explanation, it could be 100. It makes no difference. If the final frame of reference is not cashed out, as being ultimate, then everything therein are uninterpretable. Do you understand now?
You spoke for like 5 minutes and said this pretty much the same thing over and over.
Okay, you're just ignoring what I just said. Do you understand what I just said?
Ignoring what you just said, do I understand what you just said? Not really, because you
no, sir.
like
No, sir. Okay, have a nice day.
Goodbye. You need to learn to take criticism on how you.
Okay. Do you see the cheating that was going on there, Adrian?
Yeah.
You see the cheating tactics there. They're uncooperative. They ignore what's being presented. They half-heartedly respond, and then they start rabbit trailing or segueing away from what you're saying. So I see this tactic. Okay, this is why I came up with the descriptor, the 3D strategy: dodge, deflect, disrupt. Dodge, deflect, disrupt. Okay, I explained to him, if your outermost proximate explanation for the actuality and intelligibility of a proposition is unaccounted for, right, then everything contained therein is uninterpretable. And what is uninterpretable, there's no knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is they half-heartedly listen. They pretend like they're responding to what is being presented to them, but they typically are ignoring and then attempting to segue away to whatever talking point they want to invoke. Okay, it's a cheating tactic. Prometh, if it's laughable, come on up and explain why the Christian worldview is not objectively provable. Come on up. Okay, Birdman, you're getting muted because you're trolling. Okay, is it objectively provable that Christianity is not objectively provable?
Oh, what the fuck kind of question is that? Is it objectively provable?
Sir, if you're going to respond to me,
objectively provable?
If you're going to respond to me,
hey, answer my question, okay. Darth.
Goodbye.
You're a baby, bitch.
Okay, you see what psychos they are?
Oh man, I see it all the time, buddy.
Yeah. So, they can't handle an intelligent presentation. What would you like to talk about, Birdman?
Hello, Adrian. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I asked Adrian.
Yeah, but Darth is the one who's interacting with people right now. I'm studying.
Look, it's a little known fact. All right, listen, it's a little known. I'm talking. Please.
He just said something. Let me respond to him. Jesus. Hold on.
No, you're muted. Okay, so it's a little known fact that I have taken over Adrian's stream because I have adopted him as my new son, and I threatened to remove him from my will if he doesn't let me completely take over and abuse his stream.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, good. And I am a co-host here. Okay, so what do you want to talk about? Okay, either you're going to be a serious player or a troll. If you're a troll, you'll get kicked. What do you want to talk about?
I've been watching for a little bit, and I was just waiting for you to prove objectively the prompt, and you just keep dodging and deflecting and rabbit trailing. So I was just wondering if you could actually give us.
Okay, you're trolling right now. I'm about to block your account on this stream and mine. Now, okay, if you interrupt me while I'm talking,
if you're scared of answering the question,
you're done. Okay, you're done. Okay, you're done. He's already blocked.
Why? Because you can't answer the question? Are you just that much of a little?
Okay. See the mental illness. Okay. Prometh, you're not coming up. Okay. You demonstrated to me that you live in a group home, and on Tuesdays in May we don't allow people in a group home on here.
You see,
see, I always try to find clever ways to make Adrian laugh.
That was funny.
Welcome, Frodo. What do you want to talk about?
I was seeing why you're such a little pussy, Darth. Why won't you answer the question?
Okay, my sympathies that you did not grow up with a father. My sympathies.
Why don't you answer the question? You keep dodging.
Yeah. Maybe if you do a search, on your DNA, you'll find who your father was. Okay. Yeah, you're not coming up, Prometh. You see the pattern of these crazy people.
You know what's interesting about the brute facts answer is that there is no principled reason to have the stopping point where they put the stopping point. It can go anywhere.
Yeah,
it can go anywhere.
In fact, okay. So Van Til, in the cloud drive, in the Bonson folder as well as in the Van Til folder, there's a PDF copy of Van Til's apologetic. One, and you want to look for the one that's highlighted.
Yeah.
That is Bonson's magnum opus. Okay. And in there, what you need to do is go back to the index.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to the index, look up the pages where brute facts are discussed.
And the name of the book, what's the name of the book again?
Van Til's Apologetic.
Hey. Van Til's Apologetic. I'm gonna pull it up right now and open the book so I can have it.
Van Til's Apologetic is his magnum opus.
Van Til's Apologetic, right?
Yeah. See, you need to read that book. That is in the top 10 list, and it's one of the most primary materials that you need to read and understand. It's called Van Til's Apologetic. Okay. Now, it comes pre-highlighted with Darth Dawkins highlights. Okay, highlights and underlining. Okay, I want to show you how anal retentive I am, although I'm not obsessive compulsive.
Wait, is it Van Til's Apologetic in action?
No, Van Til's Apologetic. Period. It should go to the Bonson folder.
Oh, Bonson folder.
Okay. You'll find it in the Van Til folder, but you'll find it more quickly. You look for it's either a PDF or a folder that says Van Til's Apologetic. Okay, you find it?
Yeah, I'm still looking. Still looking.
It should be in the Greg Bonson folder, and there should be a folder that says Van Til's Apologetic, or it's a PDF called Van Til's Apologetic, and you should see the word highlighting on it.
Looks like I have
something. Say Van Til's Apologetic highlighting.
iCloud Drive downloads. Okay. Books. I'm gonna have to type this in. BAA Bonson.
Yeah, it's in the Bonson folder.
Bonson folder.
Okay, the Greg Bonson folder in the cloud drive that you've downloaded.
Is it the Bonson trilogy?
No.
Okay. Right.
You should look for Van Til's Apologetic. It should be there unless...
Oh, no, it's definitely there. It's just a lot. Okay, Greg Bonson and presuppositional related.
Yeah, go into that folder.
Okay.
And the book is either a PDF in that folder or it's within a folder entitled Van Til's Apologetic.
Okay. Van Til's. Here we go. Folder. Van Til's Apologetic.
Okay. Look where it says highlighting.
I found the book. Van Til's Apologetic. book scanned, paper, white, highlighted, final.
Okay, that is a
I got it. Wait.
Of my what I did was
whoa, 787 pages.
Yeah.
Hey.
So
this is gonna be something.
I transferred all of the highlighting that I did in my physical copy. I transferred it to the PDF file.
Van Til's apologetic.
What I want you to do is that is a must read, and you're at the level where you can handle the book. Okay,
yeah.
This book would be a little bit probably too intimidating for beginners, but you're not a beginner.
I can do it. I can handle it.
In the index, look up brute facts, and there are going to be at least 2 pages with numbers on them. Go to those pages and read what Bonson says about Van Til's explanation of brute facts. Brute facts are mute facts. They are uninterpretable. Okay? Because they're not created facts. There's either created facts, that the facts exist within the scope of God's mind, power, and plan, and are thus interpretable.
Right.
Because God, the mind, the power, and the plan of God is the final context. And if they're not created facts, then they are brute facts. They have no ultimate or final explanation as to what something is or is not. And if something is a brute fact, it is uninterpretable. It doesn't, and what people understand, we're talking metaphysical interpretability, not semantical interpretation. Like suppose somebody says a dog is interpretable. Yes, colloquially. But if you invoke that there is a dog in a God-independent world, there's no final frame of reference metaphysically that anything is regular, let alone a dog. So a dog would be uninterpretable in a God-independent world because there's no final frame of reference to what anything is.
Right.
And so this is the problem that these people don't understand.
Oh, here we go. Brute facts are mute facts.
Brute facts are mute facts. They're uninterpretable in the broad scheme of things.
Brute facts are mute facts. That's going to be page 376. Okay. 376.
And you're going to see the highlighting there that is an exact replica of my hard
376. Let's find that page number. Come on. Let's go. Got it. Wait, 376. Yeah, I see your highlights, bro. I see your highlights. I got it. Let me see.
I went through page by page and I transferred every highlighted line.
Says, this philosophy of chance or of brute fact destroys human predication. Upon its basis, there is no connection between one fact and another fact. We shall have to bring the matter back to this fundamental point again and again. Christian theism alone can vanquish the specter of brute fact. Yeah. I'm going to read it. This is beautiful.
Yeah. This is why the unbeliever is reduced to absurdity, because everything that comes out of their mouth is a brute fact.
And they like to say, well, I don't know, and it's okay not to know, but then you're saying out of your I don't know and your mystery worldview that our worldview is therefore false. But you don't.
What if I say to you, well, Adrian, you're wrong, and you say, by virtue of what? And I say, well, Adrian, you're wrong by virtue of I don't know.
Right. They're speaking authoritatively out of I don't know, and it's so dumb, so stupid.
Yeah. You're wrong because of I don't know.
Right. The worldview shrouded in mystery, which they violate their criterion of belief by even having that worldview.
Yeah, that's a Van Tillian conceptualization. That their world being an open system as opposed to a closed system under the auspices of the eternal self-revealing triune God. Their world, everything that they assert is shrouded in ultimate mystery.
Right.
Okay. And therefore, it's brute. It's uninterpretable. Everything that is shrouded in ultimate mystery is uninterpretable.
And they cannot make any statement or predication about what is, can be, or cannot be. including there is no God, or including the statement I'm unconvinced, or the statement I lack belief in a God. All predication is unintelligible. All predication.
Did you ever listen to my interaction with Lawrence Krauss?
Yes, where he said that nothing is impossible.
Well, do you remember when I asked him, what is it that institutes and secures all that is and cannot be? And he goes, I don't know. And then he got angry. He goes, why does it even matter? Because if he doesn't know ultimately what dictates what is and cannot be, then how can he say we don't need God? That's a contradiction.
Right.
And that's why he was pissed.
The question of
God
what
is
is
the
it
ultimate
that dictates
context and environment within which we exist,
in the not God world,
where He is our creator.
This is the question that destroys the entire.
And God is the final frame of reference.
They always say they don't know.
God is the final reference.
I don't know.
When somebody irrationally denies that, everything
Yahweh
they say collapses into ultimate absurdity because there's no final context. Thor, come on up and explain how I'm strawmanning atheists. I'd love to hear your critique. Come on up. Harm, you're just invoking an atheist cliche because you're representing atheism as a state of incredulity, which it is not. Okay, so theism is the acknowledgement and affirmation that there is a self-revealing God. Atheism is the denial that there is a God. Okay, so there's no burden shifting here. Okay, you're just uneducated, Harm. You're uneducated as to the true nature of atheism. Atheism is not merely a mental state characterized by incredulity. Atheism is either the direct or indirect denial of God. And if you deny God, be that it be direct or indirect, then you have a responsibility to account for that predication.
And you know what else? You know what else is interesting as well? Every time they falsely identify the burden shifting fallacy, it shows how ignorant they are. Because when you give reasons for a claim, it is no longer a burden shifting fallacy to ask somebody to give you a negator.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know why I'm able to deal with these people so effectively insofar as they're not being rude and obnoxious? It's because I've done my homework and I've practiced. I've practiced over and over and over and over again with these people. Now, on the other hand, they have not exposed themselves to persistent, robust critique and opposition to their position. This is why they repeat the same slogans and cliches and talking points that, upon a careful examination, do not hold up. So they just go, you're shifting the burden of proof. Okay? No, asking you to explain your position is not shifting the burden of proof. Actual Jake, I attempt to enter in as many atheist streams on TikTok without mods on a daily basis. I do it almost every single day. So you're full of crap that I don't debate people without mods. I attempt to do so. But my opponents, because they're intellectually inept, they're not educated on the topic in the least, they fail miserably, and then they have a temper tantrum, and then they become abusive and kick me because they get outsmarted. Yeah, anybody who invokes Sky Daddy is just demonstrating that they don't have a substantive defeater for God, okay?
Right,
okay?
right. All they can do is ridicule because they have no defeater for the God claim.
It's just a resort to mocking and scoffing without an underlying intellectual refutation. You see how bold they are to type pure crapola in the text, but they won't come up here. And the few that do come up here are either lacking complete character or they're just ignorant. Notice my invention.
You know what else too, Darth? The I don't know position is a non sequitur because it doesn't entail that Yahweh doesn't exist. It just means you don't know.
Well, the invocation of agnosticism is a performative contradiction. Okay, they're claiming to suspend judgment when in fact they have made a judgment indirectly to the negative about God's necessity.
Yeah.
So agnosticism is a performance, and if you want to read about that, you can read about the refutation of agnosticism as a performative contradiction. Go to the Van Til folder, then within the Van Til books, within the Van Til folder, and read a survey of a Christian epistemology. Okay, a survey of a Christian epistemology, and in the first third of the book, Van Til eviscerates, he annihilates the legitimacy of the agnostic position. Welcome, user 88. What would you like to talk about?
Hello there. How are we doing?
Oh, it's you again.
Why? What's the matter? You afraid?
Okay. Yeah. No. You have been utterly unruly, obnoxious. So, are you going to? Okay. When I'm talking, you need to shut up because if I hear you talking,
how about you actually?
Okay. Bye. Goodbye. Okay. Bye.
You're scared. You're scared. You're afraid.
Bye. I'm gonna block you on my account.
You're going to block me? That's fine. You're scared. Don't speak.
No, I've dealt with this guy on dozens of occasions. He's rude. He's obnoxious. He's irrational. So I don't want to waste my time with these people. You're gonna learn as you get more practice. You're gonna say, why am I wasting the time when these people are clearly communicating to me that they're not going to discuss things like an adult?
Yeah. Definitely.
And I at a certain point, I just say, why am I giving the people the benefit of the doubt when they're making it abundantly clear to me that they have no intention of dialoguing honestly? All right, hey, ProMyth, I'll give you another chance, which it's against my better judgment, but you're not going to last. Okay? So I invited your invite, ProMyth. Okay, so one thing to keep in mind when Van Til talks about the impossibility of the contrary, there is a direct correlation to that and Adrian Bardot or Bardum in a performative contradiction. The atheist position constitutes the impossibility of the contrary. It's a performative contradiction.
Right. 375. 375. 376. I'm gonna read this today. This is a magnum opus, man. A magnum opus.
That's what I said. Mm-hmm.
Wait, what is this guy saying about me?
Yeah, and wait a minute. You get 2 for 1. You not only get the genius of Bonson communicating the genius of Van Til, you get Darth Dawkins highlighting.
Yeah, I do, because
now there's also a copy in there without highlighting if you want to highlight it yourself.
No, I'm good with your highlights. I'm good with yours.
Okay.
I'm good with yours. This is cool. Hey, honey, you need me? Okay.
By the way, I even replicated when I would make an asterisk or a check mark on the side of the page.
Yeah, I see it.
I duplicated that in the book.
I don't know if you can see it. There's one right here.
Yep, there you go. This book it's not a scan of my book, but the highlighting and everything in it is a replica of my hardbound book.
Speaking of books, you said that in a few weeks you're gonna give me some more books. Are you done?
No, I have to re-upload the folders.
Okay, when you do send it over.
It's gonna take me another week or so to complete it, and then what you should do, although it may seem tedious to do so, is re-download the whole thing, and then
it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah.
I'll just re-download it and remove duplicates, but it's worth it. It's worth it. There's a guy named God is Truth requesting up. You know him?
Doesn't sound. Yeah, we can bring him up.
Some people are trolls, man. Trust me.
Welcome, Truth. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, just a prompt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have an argument for that? That's what I was asking.
Yeah, when we look at the propositional content representing the revelation of Yahweh, the God of the Bible, as to his property set, it demonstrates that is the only possible rational worldview with the impossibility of the contrary or its negation.
Could you explain how that's true?
Yeah. A proposition will be true because of its own positive representation combined with the impossibility of the contrary. That's called a reductio ad absurdum. So, do you believe that oxygen and water are necessary to keep you alive?
To me, that sounded like a
Sir, I just asked you a question. If you ignore one more thing, okay, if you ignore one more thing that I present to you, you will be ejected.
Then, please?
Yeah, and don't cross-talk me while I'm talking again, or you will be ejected. Okay, goodbye. Goodbye. Sorry. No, look, you see how rude these people are?
Yeah. I really, they really need to behave themselves, man.
Just keep in mind that any material that you have, do you keep your own personal collection separate from the cloud drive that you downloaded?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, you should, because so if you when I tell you to go ahead to re-download the cloud resources, and then you remove the old one, I don't want you to accidentally remove, because I've made mistakes like this in the past. But it just what it's going to do is when you re-download it, you're going to have more of the books are now categorized within their respective folders.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's also going to be some books that are uncategorized in the new books folder. But it's become too tedious for me to simultaneously add it to my main folder and then add it to the cloud drive one by one. It just gets too tedious. So I'm just going to re-upload my main folder onto the cloud, and then you can download it.
Yes, and I'm waiting on it. Still looking forward to it.
You have the overwhelming majority of stuff that I have. It's just that you're going to have all the new additional stuff.
Yeah,
that I've been adding.
I told you before you kick the bucket, I'm going to get everything in your library.
And you're going to have to require that your first grandchild's puppy be named Darth Dawkins.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be something. That's gonna be something. 370. Wait. Thumbnails. 376.
But the book Van Til's Apologetic is a must read. It's a gold mine of distillation of Van Tillian thought by Bahnsen. Bahnsen is one of the best communicators of Van Tillian thought that's out there.
Yeah, he explained the technicalities of what Van Til says. And that's very good.
Look, I'm reading through that new book that I sent you, An Introduction to the Theology and Apologetics, and I'm really enjoying it. But I will be honest with you that there's a certain amount of theological beliefs that Van Til had that I just don't quite agree with.
Yeah, but you don't have to be a Calvinist to use a precept.
No, I'm not trying to throw him under the bus. I'm still enjoying. I'm learning precisely what he believed, how he taught. The guy was brilliant. Okay, so I don't mind studying and learning, even on points that I don't necessarily agree with.
In a biography I read about him, it was said that he had unusual learning capacity. He learned how to speak English in 1 year.
Yeah, and he came to the United States when he was 10.
He was always brilliant, Van Til, always. So I'm not surprised. Yes. I'm not surprised if he was unable to dumb things down for me. I'm not surprised.
He had a way of communicating things, You know, so to me that doesn't bother me. I don't care about that. By the way, in the Van Til folder, you'll find a Van Til glossary. In fact, there's more than one Van Til glossary in the Van Til folder that has a list of key terms and phraseology or nomenclature explaining in detail what Van Til meant.
And that's in the Van Til folder?
Yeah, in the Van Til folder, just go through the list and you'll find the Van Til glossary.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that because I have a glossary. I have your charts. The charts you have a folder with a lot of charts theology in there.
Yeah, that's
a lot of definitions.
That's in the theology folder.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the glossary. All right, let's bring this guy up.
I don't have all the charts. Books, but I have almost all of them.
They're very good. They're very good.
Yeah, they are good. They are good. They are good.
You see months. Who's a month? Oh, you already bring somebody up. Okay.
Welcome, Origami. See, notice how when you present the proof in the form of a reductio ad absurdum, they're just blindsided. They don't know what to make of it.
And they think that in virtue of them not being convinced, that means the argument is false. That's incredulity.
It was very clear about
That's incredulity. That's the fallacy of incredulity.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're unconvinced. It doesn't matter. What's the defeater? What's the negator? It doesn't matter.
Invoking that you're unconvinced is not a rebuttal.
Right. And I always tell them, I don't care if you're unconvinced. What's the negator?
See, this is what they think.
What's the negator?
They incorrectly think that if they're unpersuaded, then a proof has not been given.
Yeah, they're confusing proof with persuasion.
And Bonson, I learned from Bonson that a proof could be given, but a person might not be persuaded because of their confirmation bias.
Right. But again, them not being convinced does not entail that my argument is false. It just means you're unconvinced.
No.
It doesn't. It's a non sequitur. It doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Yeah. So you being unconvinced, meaning you don't accept it. Okay. But the question is, do you have a rebuttal?
And sometimes I say to them, okay, I'm unconvinced of atheism. Does that mean atheism is false? They say no, and I'm like, okay, so why do you think you being unconvinced of theism means theism is false? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
That's the brilliance of Scott Shalkowski's scholarly paper called A Theological Apologetics, because they're advancing the presumption of atheism, either they're justified in the denial of God, or they're holding to incredulity in the absence of claiming that they don't have a reason. Okay, welcome, Yosef. What do you want to talk about?
The proof of God.
Yeah, I didn't hear you.
Give me the proof of God, setting aside your belief.
Everywhere we look in the world, from the smallest scale to the grandest scale, the world overwhelmingly and uncontroversially appears to be the product of ultimate intentional design, with the impossibility of the contrary. Now, atheist academics of the highest ranks have recorded in their own books and publications, they agree that yes, the world appears to be designed, but they then qualify that by saying it's an illusion of design. Okay, if you do not accept that the world appears to be designed because it is,
sorry for interrupting. But if you want to go out to the point,
goodbye. Sorry for me kicking you out of here when you so rudely interrupt me. Welcome, Adam. What do you want to talk about?
Hey guys, I've started reading the Bible, and I'm reading.
Yeah, your microphone is a little soft. You need to speak louder.
Okay, how about now? Is that better?
No.
Really, man, my connection might be really bad. I'm sorry.
Now it's good. Go ahead, proceed.
Okay, so I've started reading the Bible recently, and I was wondering about the idea that Yahweh is someone separate from Jesus. What do you guys think about the evidence.
No, Yahweh is the formal name that God gave to Moses and the Jews to refer to God. Okay? God further reveals through progressive revelation in the Old and the New Testament that within the unity of his being, Yahweh, he subsists as three seats of intellect or persons: the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. Those three seats of intellect are unified as one being, and that being is Yahweh.
So is that... I've also heard people say that the Trinity is not biblical, and I don't know a lot either way. So do you have?
Yeah, well, they're just ignoramuses.
Yeah.
Okay. The Bible teaches. Well, here's the problem. If you examine the concept of a Unitarian God as opposed to a Trinitarian God, a Unitarian God cannot be perfect, because a Unitarian God cannot actualize love and the relationality aspect of being a personal being before creation. But a God who is a unified being who subsists internally as three seats of intellect can actualize the relationality aspect of being personal and actualize love. Okay? So Unitarianism cannot have a perfect God. Okay?
Okay, that's a good answer. I'm curious about one other thing. If you have, do you have like a philosophical belief as to why God would be in three forms specifically?
Well, there's not a causal reason, because God's existence simply, he exists out of the necessity of his own being. There's a book by Brant Bosserman dealing with the paradox of the Trinity, where he goes in depth theologically and philosophically as to if God was merely a binity, two persons within the unity of his being, God could be perfect. And if God was a quadrinity, four persons or more within the unity of his being, God could be perfect. So God just simply necessarily exists from perfection. That the ground of all being,
hey Darth,
which is perfect.
I'm gonna be back in an hour. Will you still be here?
You mean you want me to come back, or do you want me to?
No. I mean, can you run the live until I get back?
Yeah, but I'll probably be going in half an hour, so I'll keep it going as long as I can. Okay.
Okay, no problem. I'll try to get back in 30 minutes.
And if it's just stagnant, they'll just disconnect you.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that too. Yeah, okay. Do your thing, because I gotta run some errands.
Alrighty. Okay. Go ahead, Adam.
Okay. Well, you've answered my question, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.